Good morning, good afternoon. This is Susan Tobes with ACF Solutions. Thank you for joining us today to hear how CU is leveraging the Salesforce platform to transform communications with alumni, staff, students, and how ACF Solutions is delivering transformative alumni engagement solutions. Thank you for joining us. I want to just do a quick sound check, make sure everybody can hear me. If you cannot hear me, and you're not going to know that, but if you can hear me, let us know, and then we'll keep going. If someone could reply in the question window or chat window, that would be great. I don't see anything, so we will proceed. So as I said at the start, my name is Susan Tobes, and I'm the Vice President of Business Development at ACF Solutions. And with us today are Watt Hamlet and Kim Egan. Watt Hamlet is the solution architect here with us at ACF Solutions, and Kim Egan is the Director of Communications at the University of Colorado. We're very excited to have both of us, all of us here today, and both of them joining me. We're going to start this presentation off by having me do a couple of slides, and then we're going to switch to Kim, and then we're going to move to Watt to do a brief demo of AlumniEngage. So let me tell you a little bit about ACF Solutions. ACF Solutions is a consultancy built around the Salesforce Foundation, 100% focused on foundation clients. And today we're really talking about it with a higher ed focus. However, I know we have some nonprofits on this call, and welcome to this call. We appreciate you being here. We are a consultancy focused in that space with, in our little infographic here, over 429 years of professional experience and 210 years in the industry. In the 3 years since we've been in higher ed, we've added 45 higher ed clients and completed and delivered 120 higher ed projects. It's very exciting, and we really, really are excited about this growth that we have. And one of the ways that we've created success and vaulted to this top partner position is that we have an incredibly rigorous methodology that we follow that allows us to deliver enterprise solutions on time and on budget. And so with that, I want to just share a few of our clients with you. This next slide, which I am clicking to get to rather unsuccessfully, there it is, is a list of a few of the clients that we're working with. And some of these clients are clients that are working with us on alumni projects, such as University of Colorado with Kim Egan, who's here today, and other projects like we have going on at Allegheny College or Tufts University, all projects that are in the alumni space. Many of these other projects are advancement projects, and we cover the gamut from recruiting to student services to advancement in alumni relations. So basically cradle to donor experience within your projects in higher ed. So with that, I would like to introduce Kim Egan, and Kim is going to take it from here and tell the story of how they have selected Salesforce and what they're doing, and she's going to share some of her experiences, and then we'll move on to the demo. So Kim, you're up.
Great, thank you, Susan. Hello, everyone. I'm very pleased to be here and share with you our journey from Harris Connect to Salesforce. As Susan said, my name is Kim Egan. I'm Director of Electronic Communications. I'm housed in the President's Office in University Relations for the University of Colorado. I run the CUECOM program for the system across 4 campuses, system and advancement offices. ECOM is our branded name for the program, ECOM being short for electronic communications. It's not the name of the software, it's just the name of the program at CU, which will transfer when Harris sunsets and Salesforce sunrises. So a little bit more about the ECOM program. It is a system-wide initiative that provides any unit at CU the ability to communicate or engage electronically with their core audience. It supports engagement with internal as well as external constituents. ECOM was initiated in 2009 by our president, Bruce Benson, for a few reasons. First, to create consistencies in how we communicate with our audiences, to help establish and enforce branding compliance, to achieve efficiencies of scale by way of using one centralized communications platform, and also to meet federal CAN-SPAM requirements, which is much more achievable via one solution. A final and critical component that is still a major driver of the ECOM program is data, and more of it. An unpublished tagline for the program is Mo Better Data. Without Mo Better Data, we cannot communicate with our constituents effectively and deliver the quality and custom content that they are demanding. So that is the theme that you'll hear me echo throughout this presentation. Sorry guys, I'm unable to go to the next slide. Could you? Oh, thank you very much. For CU, the ECOM suite of tools includes three primary components. The first is an email marketing tool. We also have a form builder tool that includes events, membership, and giving, and an alumni online community. At the core of this is a database that integrates with all three areas. The most important piece is the alumni community, where we drive our alumni to update their profile, register for events, and essentially provide CU with Mo Better Data. So this slide gives you an overview of CU by the numbers, as well as ECOM and our activity last year. So the left column is a high level of CU. So right now, across 4 campuses, system, and advancement offices, we have about 35,000 employees, 55,000 students, 457,000 alumni, 348,000 donors, and that all adds up to about 1 million records. And of those 1 million records, we have about 450,000 with good email addresses. Last year for ECOM, we supported about 300 communicators across CU. For email marketing, we sent about 3,200 unique messages, and that translated to about 22 million inboxes being hit. For event registration, we built out 400 event registration forms, which generated 70,000 in revenue and about 5,000 attendees. So this slide gives me anxiety because I could spend the afternoon talking with you all about the challenges we faced over the last 2+ years. But alas, I've only been given 10 minutes or so today. With that, I feel that our woes can be bucketized into 2 groups. The first is pretty straightforward. Harris Connect has become a challenge simply because it is sunsetting for all clients in February 2016. For CU, it will go away in November. That's when our contract ends. That created a very real and necessary objective to meet: replace the solution. I want to emphasize that Harris Connect has been a very good system for CU. You know the saying, you have to walk before you can run. Harris allowed us to build the program, establish a set of users, identify clear requirements, and know how we want to grow. Now that's a great segue into our second challenge, which is, guess what, around data. While the tools in Harris were great and allowed us to send emails and build forms, it fell short on the infrastructure. As communicators, we want to be able to know our audience, which in turn drives content and allows us to be better marketers of our institution. That 360-degree view of our constituents was missing. We knew we needed a constituent relationship management system. With those 2 things, Harris going away and needing a CRM, our focus turned to Salesforce. Can you go to the next slide? Oh, there we go. Thank you. So this slide outlines what our Salesforce solution will entail. Phase 1 includes the rollout of Salesforce and Marketing Cloud to support our email marketing and engagement activities, as well as the out-of-the-box Salesforce community application to support our alumni online community. Phase 2 will include forms management and will also be an integrated Salesforce solution. We're in the beginning stages of finding a comprehensive solution for Phase 2. All right. So how does ACF Solutions fit in? I like to think of ACF as our general contractor. They know we want a 3-car garage on a hill that overlooks the lake and 5 minutes from work. We want it all. and we need it built before our other house sells and within a pretty tight budget. So ACF is essentially building our CU Salesforce mansion. Thanks. All right. This slide is a little overwhelming, and it's meant to be that way. It outlines our aggressive timeline for phase 1. The items in red font represent the activities that ACF are doing and in what order. The other components are on me, which is change management, an absolutely critical component to ensuring what we build will be positively received by our 300 communicators. In addition to the town halls outlined here, we're also sending monthly emails, answering lots of one-off questions, and our website is serving as a hub for anything related to this project. We post news and insights as often as we can. Our plan is to launch Marketing Cloud and the alumni community in July of this year. Good. Oh, can you go on back? Technical difficulties.
Sorry, folks, we're having a little trouble with our slide advancing system. It's
Thanks,
not the, yeah.
It's not listening to me.
It's not our presenter. It's definitely something else. So sorry to interrupt, Kim. Go ahead.
No, thank you. Thank you. So support. This is no easy or small task, and so we had to make sure we have the right support in place to ensure success. I've broken support up into 3 groups: people, resources, and funding. In terms of people, we spent a lot of time ensuring we have support across the CU system at the highest levels. Our president, the campus chancellors, vice presidents, and other A-level leaders are on board to support the initiative and understand the short and long-term benefits. For resources, I mentioned our website earlier, but that will continue to serve as a resource for our e-com users. We will post training resources, something that ACF is delivering, to the site. ACF is also coming to Colorado to provide in-person classroom-style training. And finally, CU invested a great deal into the Salesforce licenses. We bought the top-tier licenses, therefore providing full access to all of Salesforce's training resources, which is extensive. And funding. We had to make the investment. There's cost shares with the campuses for software and licenses, and the president is funding the development. All right, next slide here. Yay. All right, where we're headed. I've spent some time talking specifically about e-com and how we're going to implement a Salesforce solution to meet e-com objectives, but it's bigger than e-com. What we realize is that no matter what your role is at CU, you need data. Information or data drives nearly every aspect of university life, from student success to housing and dining, admissions, athletics, career development, alumni relations, advancement. I could go on, and you all know these things anyways. It's all about better data, and even more so, it's about moving away from siloed information and systems and pushing content in mass scale to putting the constituent in the center, responding to them in a way that allows CU to deliver the content and services they want in the format they demand and when they want to consume it. All right. Great. So replacing Harris with Salesforce is seemingly simple, but at CU we decided to take it a big step further. There's lots of little homegrown solutions here at CU, whether there's spreadsheets sitting on a desktop and updated by one person, or a MailChimp or Eventbrite software running in one department, in one school, on one campus that houses good current data that no one else at CU can access except them. We didn't want to add to that and create yet another silo at CU and ask our data teams to support yet another integration with yet another system. We could have easily created another silo, whip and replace. Instead, we decided that we wanted to do something different and change the way we engage with CU constituents for the long run. So the vision is to create an enterprise, system-wide CRM solution. E-com is just one component and will be the first app that takes Salesforce system-wide at CU. It will support CU system-wide and eventually meet all of the needs of CU, not just ECOM. It will be integrated bidirectionally with all of CU's source systems, our HR student and alumni systems, with the eventual goal of moving units off of their one-off shadow databases and softwares and using one exclusive system of engagement. We have established a center of excellence that will support new projects like ECOM, as well as the maintenance of the overall system. This has not been easy. It has been a multi-year endeavor that has just begun. The idea is that we do this once, we do this well, and we create a foundation for success. So with that, that brings me to the end of my presentation. It was very high level, short and sweet. If you have any questions or want to know more, please visit our website or contact me. Susan, back to you.
Thank you, Kim. That was fantastic. I never tire of hearing about the journey. Having worked in higher ed for a long time, I'm always so impressed with what you've been able to do in getting not just departments to work together, but 4 campuses to work together across the system in a single solution. So just the politics and all of the work you've done has just been amazing. So thank you so much for sharing that with everybody. I want to also pause here and say, I'm sure you have questions that you've already want to ask, and I'm sure that questions will come up as we go forward. So please enter your questions into the question chat window, and we will address them all at the end. While we would love to make this more of an interactive experience, we've got a short amount of time and we want to make sure we get through the whole demo, but we will take questions at the end. So with that, I'd like to introduce Watt Hamlet, who is going to go over what ACF is now calling AlumniEngage. So Watt, I'm handing it back to you.
All right. Thank you, Susan. So hi, everybody. This is Watt Hamlet, and I'm going to spend the next 15 or 20 minutes just giving you an overview of what AlumniEngage is, and then taking you through a brief demo. So what is AlumniEngage? It's a comprehensive solution. So it's not a single product. It's a comprehensive solution for alumni engagement that's built on the Salesforce platform and delivered to our clients by ACF. And it has the following 4 components. So the first component is the Salesforce CRM platform that Kim mentioned. So this provides the core capabilities that your school needs to manage a comprehensive profile for your alumni. The platform is very flexible, so it can easily be customized to meet both the data management needs and the processes, the specific processes for alumni relations at your school. And it's also open, which means you'll be able to integrate it with other campus systems like your student information system or your advancement system. The second component is the Salesforce Marketing Cloud. So the Marketing Cloud is what provides the advanced email marketing as well as social listening and social publishing capabilities. It enables you to use all of that rich data about your alumni that's within the CRM to make sure you're delivering relevant, personalized messages to the right alum at the right time and in the right channel. The third component is the Salesforce Community Cloud. So this is built directly on the CRM, and it's what enables your alumni to engage with the university and with one another in an online environment that's both social and mobile. And to this Community Cloud, ACF has added several key components to support things like an online alumni directory and profile management, as well as other features like class notes. And finally, Salesforce has, over the years, developed a really incredible ecosystem of partners that deliver applications that are built to work with the Salesforce platform. So through the Salesforce AppExchange, there are hundreds of applications to support things like event management, online fundraising, volunteer management, data mapping, inbox integration, and so on. So with AlumniEngage, ACF partners with each school to select and implement the right complementary tools to meet their needs. So that's a quick overview of what AlumniEngage is. Now let me take you into our demo. And we're going to look at things both from an alumni perspective as well as from an alumni relations staff point of view. So first up, from the alumni perspective, this is the ACF AlumniEngage community that's powered by Community Cloud. So this community is for a fictitious school called Metropolitan University, and I'm logged in as Michelle DeVoe, a fictitious alum. So in the community, Michelle can engage both with the school as well as with her fellow alums in an environment that is branded to the school as well as tailored to the needs of the school. So let's talk about a couple of the things Michelle can do here. First of all, she can find other alums to connect with. As you see on the home page here, there's a quick search, and then there's also a more comprehensive directory search available in the community. So ACF has built this search right on top of the Salesforce CRMs, and what that means is both your alums and your staff have access to the same fresh, most complete data. So Michelle can look for other alums based on name, location, education background, employment information, and on and on. And all of these categories are configurable for your particular school. So let's run a quick search here. Michelle wants to find other alums who are located in her state of New York. And so here from the list on the right, she can see all of the matching profiles, and of course the more criteria she applies, the more specific list she'll receive. So let's take a look at a detailed alum profile. So this is Michelle's own profile in the community, and this is how it would appear to other members of the community, except for this edit button, which of course only Michelle has access to on her profile. So here we can see information about Michelle, again, that's coming right out of the CRM. But if you'll notice here, a couple of fields are blank. Home street, secondary email address, there's no phone information. We can see her social profile links. Why is that? Well, that has to do with the privacy that Michelle has chosen to apply to her profile. So with AlumniEngage, your alums, you can enable your alums to have the ability to make individual fields private, as she's done with her home mailing address and her email address, as well as with whole sections of the profile. So here she's chosen to say, I don't want to share my phone information publicly in the community. So what Michelle can do is keep all of her information up to date with the school while still maintaining choice over what she shares with other members of the community. Michelle also has the ability to maintain a comprehensive set of preferences, and this is both in terms of what topic she's interested in, such as arts and culture or health and medicine, as well as how she would like to be communicated with from all the departments across the school. And this is going to feed directly into the marketing cloud to help Metropolitan drive targeted, relevant communications to Michelle. So another feature of AlumniEngage community is Chatter. So Chatter is your school's own social network, and it lets your alums connect with other individual alums or with groups, and uses all the familiar conventions of social networking: following, liking, commenting, and sharing. So here within Chatter, Michelle can see all of the activity in her network, including things posted by people she follows, as well as things posted to groups she's a member of. So we can see Michelle is part of a private group for volunteer fundraisers, and Alana Jackson, one of the members of that group, has posted a video to share out with the other members. She's also following one of her former classmates, Devin Reynolds, and Devin has posted a video to Chatter with some highlights from Alumni Weekend, which again, Michelle can like or comment on or share. These groups can be either private or open to all alums, and alums can even have the ability to set up their own groups. Chatter is also smart, so you notice here on the right-hand side, it's providing recommendations to Michelle of people and groups she might want to follow based upon shared activity or interests. So for example, if Michelle follows Lillian, then any activity Lillian has in the community will become part of Michelle's Chatter feed and will also be available in an email digest. And there's also one-to-one private messaging available within the community as well. So that's a quick look at the alumni experience from the desktop. Let me take just a moment now to switch over to my mobile device, and we'll take a look at the alumni experience from a smartphone. All right, so here I am as Michelle logged into the alumni community from my iPhone, and we can see all of the same things we were just talking about on the desktop version are available in a mobile optimized way here with just a set of simple tiles that can be customized to the look and feel of your school. So from here, Michelle can go into the directory search. She can access her profile information, make updates directly from her phone if she chooses, or access to profiles of other alums, as well as visit her chatter feed or access other links that may have been posted as part of the online community. All right, so that is a quick look at the AlumniEngage offering from the perspective of an alum. So let's transition now and take a look at AlumniEngage from the perspective of your alumni relations staff. All right, so now I am logged into Salesforce as myself, as Watt Hamlet, who works in alumni relations at Metropolitan. So notice in the upper right here, I'm in the alumni relations module, and this gives me access to certain data and functions through the tabs that are across the top. And this is important because at Metropolitan, as will be true at University of Colorado, Salesforce is not just being used for alumni relations, but across the whole university for other functions like recruiting and admissions, student services, and advancement. And so again, this is one of the things that really sets Salesforce apart, is its ability to be an enterprise-wide CRM platform for your school and not just another siloed solution just for alumni relations. And because Salesforce has extensive options for user roles and permissions, we can ensure that when Watt and the team and alumni relations log in, they have access to just the data and functions they need in the system, no more and no less. So if you'll notice here, my homepage features a dashboard that shows me key metrics on alumni engagement, including things like chapter participation, activity in the online community over time, and volunteer participation in reunion. And the ability to give you this kind of insight into your data is another key benefit of the Salesforce platform. And these are just a few examples of those kinds of metrics. Also, just as there's chatter in the alumni community, there's also chatter available for your staff to use to collaborate with one another and stay connected to your alums and to your data. So from the homepage, let's take a look at an example of an alumni record from the staff point of view. So remember Michelle, here is her record from the staff perspective. So on this single screen, I can see a comprehensive profile of Michelle and the history of her interactions with the school. And this information is aggregated from a number of sources, including other campus systems like the SIS or advancement system, from any marketing or communication activities, even from one-on-one staff interactions, as well as things that have been added to the record from the alum herself through the community. So as I scroll through, you'll see these different types of information that are here on the profile. Again, career information. Here are those preferences we saw Michelle setting in the community. We can see detailed information on her student life participation and so forth. And the benefit then of having all of this data about Michelle in one place is that we can use it to ensure that we are engaging with Michelle in the most personalized way possible. And that's where campaigns come in. So campaigns are a native feature of Salesforce, and they enable your alumni relations team to coordinate and manage all of your outbound engagements with your alums, whether that's emails, events, mailings, even by telephone. So here in one place, we can see all the campaigns Michelle has been included in over time, as well as her response. Also, because of the integration to Salesforce Marketing Cloud, we can see more detailed information about what emails Michelle has received, and also whether she's opened those messages and even whether she clicked links when she received them. So a lot of data about your alum in one place. So how might your staff make use of this data to target a group of alumni? So let's look at a couple of ways. The first way is through using Salesforce reporting. So reporting is the tool that gives any user of the system the ability to pull their own lists in real time. So here I'm starting with a report of all of the alumni in the system, and if I scroll to the bottom here, there you'll see there's quite a bit of it. In fact, 122,000 total alumni records for Metropolitan. So this is great that we can have access to all of this data, but in our case, we are just looking for young alumni in the vicinity of New York to invite to a young alumni summit. So how would we do that? So Salesforce features a drag and drop report writer that's designed to empower any user to create their own custom list with just a few clicks. So here on the left, remember all of those fields we saw in Michelle's record? They're all here. And from this list, I can simply access the fields that I want to use to narrow down my alumni list. In this case, we're going to go with graduation year, and we want anyone who's graduated in the past 10 years. And then we also want to limit things geographically. So we'll just look for alums who are in the states of New York, New Jersey, or Connecticut. And then the preview pane here at the bottom lets us know if we've applied too many filters. All right, so when we run our report, we'll get our full list of alums that match our criteria. And then when we're ready to reach out to these alums, all we need to do is click the Add to Campaign button. This will place them into our Young Alumni Summit campaign with the status of invited. And from here, we can use the Salesforce Marketing Cloud to send out our email communications to this group. So that's one way through Salesforce reporting. Another way to build a list is through a map. So this is an example of one of those third-party apps from the Salesforce AppExchange that I was mentioning earlier that you can use to enhance your alumni solution. This particular app I'm showing you here is called GeoPoint, and it lets me map any data in the system that has an address. So what I've done here is I've plotted on the map the place that I'm holding my event, which is on Crosby Street in New York, and now I want to run a query to find any alumni who are within a 75-mile radius of that location. So it's going out, looking at all of my alumni records, is going to pull them back into the interface, plot them on the map so I can see where they are, and then will give me the ability to further filter that data based upon other criteria I might want to apply, like graduation year, major, industry, and so forth. So here are those alumni records that resulted from the radial search. That same information is in the list below, so I can handpick the people I might want to include or exclude. And then again, to reach out to them, all I've got to do is click the Add to Campaign button to add them to that campaign we saw earlier. Okay, so that is a quick overview of how your school can use Salesforce to achieve a 360-degree view of your alums and make use of the data to manage engagement. So now that you have all of this data inside of Salesforce and are using it to create those targeted campaigns, you'll need an equally sophisticated tool for your email and social marketing teams to use, and that's where the Salesforce Marketing Cloud comes in. So here on the home page of the Marketing Cloud, I can have access to the various tools I'm using, such as for email, mobile, social, even web publishing. There's a consolidated calendar of all of my planned and executed communications so that we can better coordinate timing and messaging across all the various departments that are sending email. The Marketing Cloud has really advanced email marketing capabilities. So from here, I can build emails that are branded to the school that include personalized and dynamic content drawn from the CRM. Once I've sent out my messages, I have access to analytics, so I can track things either at an individual message level or across my whole program. and as we saw earlier, even track it down to an individual alum level. Besides campaign-based messaging, the Marketing Cloud also offers marketing automation. So this is going to enable me to create complex automated marketing flows, such as you see here, where certain activities are happening, we're allowing a certain amount of time to pass, follow-up activities are happening, and then based on alumni response, that will determine what the next step of the sequence is for that individual alum. The Marketing Cloud also enables social listening. So this will enable you to track your school's brand and your alumni programs across social media channels. There's also social publishing so that you can coordinate and automate out publishing of messages across those same social channels. All right. So that is a quick look at AlumniEngage. And what we'd like to do now, as we conclude, is open things up to your questions. So if you would please take advantage of the question or chat window there within GoToWebinar and post your questions. We will do our best in the time remaining to address those. And I'm gonna hand it back over to Susan to coordinate that.
Thank you, Watt. We do already have 3 questions in our question window. So the first one comes from one of our guests that asks, why do we need to keep a systems of record for alumni? Why not have everything in the CRM? That's a great question. So a lot of the engagement is driven by data found in other systems. However, if that data is not in other systems and it's in the CRM, then there's no need to have other systems, meaning if you're moving your entire advancement system to Salesforce, and so to drive communication, you want to know maybe what their giving level is, what society they're in, when did they graduate, and all of that data already exists in Salesforce, then there's no need to keep a system of record. However, what we're introducing or talking about here is a system of engagement, and engagement is driven off of data that you would find in other systems. And so to really improve engagement, as Kim was talking about, having that metadata concept, to really target, you want to be able to develop targeted campaigns, and to do that, you need data. And so that's why we find that when we're delivering solutions like this, we are integrating with other systems. Watt, do you have anything to add to that?
No, that's great.
Great. Our next question is there a content management system here? And Watt, I'm going to push that one over to you to address that question. However, I'm happy to jump in as well if you'd like.
Sure. So yes, with the Community Cloud, there is a lightweight CMS or page publishing tool available from Salesforce called Site.com. So that is going to enable you to augment the community with any pages you'd want to create. Typically we don't recommend that it be used as a full CMS. It doesn't have all of the sort of publishing capabilities that you might expect in a traditional CMS, but for people who are managing your community, it can be a really nice tool to give them the ability to create both static pages as well as pages that are connected into your data.
Great. And the next question we have is, can you show targeting by interest? So for example, how would you create a targeted list by interest, Watt? Is that something you could easily go back and give us a quick overview of?
Yeah, why don't you give me a second to queue that up and maybe go on to the next question, but we can come back to that.
Perfect. I will go on to the next question. So another question is, do you integrate with Ellucian? And the answer to that question is yes, often and regularly. We integrate with Ellucian, both advanced and advancement. We've integrated with both. We also have integrated with PeopleSoft for student information system and other Ellucian products like the student information system or Colleague, Banner or Colleague. we're happy to talk about integration more in depth if you'd like. Are there other questions that people have? Oh, here's another one. What if I want to do fundraising? So interestingly enough, in our base demo here, we did not show fundraising. However, when we talk about Alumni Engaged, and certainly when we've been talking to Kim at CU and other clients, we will be adding a fundraising component, meaning depending on what your existing fundraising solution is, that will potentially drive which tool we use from the Salesforce marketplace to deliver online fundraising, whether it be something really simple just to do one-time fundraising, or if it's something that would be more complex, like being able to create a pledge or pay a pledge. So it's really dependent on what you currently have at your institution and how complex we want to make the solution. But yes, the answer is yes, we can add fundraising. All right, here's another question that's come in. Could you speak more about the ability to update alumni profiles and contact information? And does it live in the university's website, or is it via email links? Great question. So this Alumni Engage, and maybe Watt, you want to take this one, if you could hear me on that. I know you're probably looking for, I could start the answer. So the question, Watt, is, speak more about the ability to update alumni profiles and contact info. Does it live in the university website, or is it via email links? And the answer is this community site is a live site, and it writes directly to the Salesforce CRM. So that data is actually updated immediately in Salesforce. And Watt, do you want to add any more to that?
No, in fact, why don't I just show a quick example here?
Oh, great, great.
We can touch on both of the questions related to the demo. So yeah, so back to Michelle's profile in the community. So when she comes in, she has the ability to manage her interests or preferences. Again, these are configurable to each school, so whatever those categories are for you would be part of the community here. So let's say Michelle comes in and says, yeah, you know what, I've got an interest in athletics. So she can save that profile in the community. And then if we go back to Michelle's record here from the staff perspective, and if I just reload here, we can see now that that is part of her profile, right, from the staff point of view. And now we can make use of that to target information to her. So to the earlier question, so let's say we wanted to send something out just to the alums who've expressed an interest in athletics. We can just add this filter to our alumni report. And again, we could target people who either are or are not interested in athletics based upon the need. And there's Michelle. So she's our one alum in the database who's got that interest. But now we have the ability to target our messaging again, whether that's through email or direct mail or other channels.
Are there other questions?
Anything else?
There's a question here about Chatter. So a question about Chatter. So I'm excited about Chatter, particularly that it's private to the community. However, I've heard people levy criticism against it because it's another place that you have to check. And we agree with you. We've heard that same level of criticism. However, if you have a really good communication plan and a community manager who helps support and drive engagement in the community, we're hearing from our schools that they're very excited about having a walled community to communicate freely amongst other alums. And so they're more likely to share, more likely to engage. And what we've heard from the schools we're working is that the biggest barrier to entry is login, remembering the multiple logins. So one of the amazing things about Salesforce is you can use open authentication or some other tools to use your Facebook login, for example, to log into the community and set up authentication to make it that not be the barrier to engage, the barrier to entry. I hope that helps answer that question. A couple more questions just rapidly came in, so let's just be sure we get to these two. So one question, talk to the types of strategic decisions clients need to be prepared to answer when considering alumni engagement systems. Great question. So Kim, I think if you don't mind taking that, because I think you have a wonderful experience with some of the strategic decisions and the challenges that you were faced with as you made your decision at University of Colorado. Could you speak to that a little bit?
Can you say the question one more time, Susan?
Sure. Talk about the types of strategic decisions clients need to be prepared to make or answer when considering alumni engagement systems.
I think you need to make sure you have buy-in from the top down, and you also need to have a solid change management plan in place so that your users or your other stakeholders are supporting the initiative. You also want to make sure you have everyone at the table in terms of the integration so they can, sorry, there's an echo and I'm getting distracted here. But you want to make sure everything, sorry, there's so many players in a project, and it includes making sure you've got folks from the integration standpoint, from the communication standpoint, leadership, and then everyone that will be using the system. And all of those individuals will provide a unique set of insights, and you also want to communicate with them in different ways. So you really want, what we have found is really stepping back ahead of time and talking to all those groups of people in advance as much as possible, and then continuing that communication as much as possible throughout the process. One thing that we found that was really beneficial is giving folks the opportunity to ask questions and feel like they have buy-in and that they're part of the project. We feel like that's just been a really important piece of the process, and ACF has actually been amazing in that as well. They've really helped us with that change management in terms of counseling us and giving us insights because they've done this a lot with higher ed, and so they've been really helpful in that way as well.
Great, thank you, Kim. So a few more questions have come in. How can I offer alumni membership upgrades, downgrades, and other membership management using a tool like this? So we did not show you how to manage alumni membership here, and that is absolutely something that you can add into AlumniEngage, and it would include implementing a tool to support the member management, partly a tool that supports member management as well as online giving. And so there would be integration with some kind of donor management tool potentially. And we've done that with Advancement Connect, the solution from Salesforce, and other solutions on the AppExchange. And we could talk more about that if you'd like to meet and talk a little bit more about member management. We're happy to talk about that offline. Watt, do you have anything to add to that?
No, that's great.
Thanks. All right, next question.
Oh, go ahead, Susan.
Yep, next question. Do you expose or can you expose info to current students or connect with them? And great question. One of the things that we're hearing from a number of universities is that they would like to find ways to connect students and alumni together. And so what you can absolutely do is add students in to your chatter community. Potentially you may want to limit the students' focus on this community away from updating their profile. Maybe you want that, and but the system of record that profile information for active students might go to a different place than profile information for an alum or donor. And so that requires a little bit of different integration techniques. However, we are working with schools who want to add current students into the mix here to allow greater engagement. It also means that you got to get buy-in from your community, and so it would need to probably be a preference that your alumni would say, yes, I'd like to be contacted by current students, or yes, I'd like to participate in a mock, so some potential mentoring or volunteering, a mock interview panel or some such thing. And two of the schools we're working with are absolutely looking at expanding AlumniEngage to do just that. What you said, there were, I see many more questions here. Are you pointing me to those, or you have others that I don't
no, I just want to make sure you're seeing those, yeah.
Yeah, okay, good. I was taking them slightly out of order, because I wanted to hear other people talk. Next question is, let's see. I'm sorry, I'm just moving down towards the bottom. Okay, so can you customize the community pages to match my university branding? I'd like to hand that question over to you, Watt, and talk a little bit about how that works.
Sure. So yeah, the answer to that is yes. The components that we've seen today, as far as the homepage, the directory search, the profile, those can be branded with your colors, your school imagery, your logo, as well as again for directory search and profile, the types of data that you want to make available to the users of the community.
Thank you. Thank you. A couple more questions related to Chatter and the value proposition of having this walled community. And absolutely, how do you sell Chatter to skeptics? I think it depends on your community. And so how we've positioned Chatter to skeptics is to work with them to come up with a number of use cases, but most importantly is to have a community manager so that skeptics will enter your community and skeptics will not participate if they don't think the community is well managed. So you're going to have to put a 30, 60, 90-day plan or a 3, 6, 9-month plan in place to manage the onboarding of people into the community and really make it fun for people to participate. To use a 90s term from my old life, make it sticky so that people will come back. Make it so that they can come and see who's attending an event that they want to attend, give them reasons to participate, and we find that people will use the tool. Next question, how do you collect interest data? So great question. So interest data can be collected both extrinsically or explicitly and intrinsically based on people's behavior. So interest data in this use case that you saw here was collected based on people going in and updating their interests. Other ways that we're collecting interest data is by examining data and using either process builder or database triggers to make updates to interest fields based on people's desired, right? So how do we want this behavior to be recorded? So if we find that somebody has donated more than 3 times to the same fund and that fund represents a particular interest category, let's examine the data and add that interest code. And so we'll work with our clients to find ways that they want to both explicitly have their alumni identify themselves, and then we're going to go and find ways to interpret their behavior to intrinsically add interest. There's also a number of tools available from the Marketing Cloud that we did not talk about today that allow you to track some of that behavior. And while it's not necessarily widely used in higher ed, there's definitely more to be found there. And that's a little too much for today, but we can talk about that another time. I do want to say that we're going to record all of these questions and we can send up a follow-up email with some of these answers that we might not get to today, because I'm really excited to see so many questions. So if we don't get to your question, we will definitely send a follow-up with some of this information. So question, how do alums access the online community? Do they log in? Yes, it is an authenticated experience, meaning we want them to authenticate into the community. And how they authenticate it, whether it's single sign-on with other systems that they may authenticate with, like a social authentication, or with other things they might authenticate with on your campus, that's up to you to decide how you want to employ or onboard your alums, but absolutely it's an authenticated experience. And more questions about connecting with current students, and I think we've covered a little bit about that, and we absolutely want and are working with clients who want their alums to connect with current students. Question, have we worked with any universities in Latin America? Not yet. We would love to. I have my passport ready, so let me know when you'd like to talk, and especially if you're in a place that's a little warmer than it is here in Northern California right now, I'd love to be there. So yes, we'd be happy to work with schools in Latin America. And Salesforce has multi-language support, so it absolutely can support Latin American community. Would this solution run in conjunction with or instead of Advancement Connect? It actually would run with Advancement Connect. It's not in place of Advancement Connect. This is your outbound engagement tool in support of alumni and alumni communication and engagement. Advancement Connect can be your core data that would inform working with alumni, inform how you communicate with alumni. I'm sorry I'm speaking so fast, but I'm trying to get through all the questions here. And so it doesn't replace Advancement Connect, but it absolutely can work with the Advancement Connect data model. And if you were replacing Advancement Connect, we wouldn't need as many data integrations. What's the typical implementation timeline? Great question. One that we talked about in advance, so thank you for the softball on that. The timeline for implementation has ranged 14 to 20 weeks. Some projects take longer depending on the complexity. So for example, Colorado is going to be a little bit longer than that because they have 4 campuses and 4 data sources. So theirs is a little longer. Others are a little bit shorter. So they're between 3.5 and 6 months is the range in implementation. Can you speak more to volunteer or volunteer management capabilities? Would you mind taking that one?
Sure. So that is one of the areas that would be covered through capabilities from the Salesforce AppExchange. We've talked about Advancement Connect a little bit today, and Advancement Connect has its own built-in volunteer management capabilities. Beyond that, there are also other apps available from the Salesforce AppExchange in the area of volunteer management. And then depending on what your needs are, sometimes things can just be configured for your school to support volunteer management. So if your needs are more in the area of, say, volunteer fundraisers, so people who are signing up to be solicitors in for your advancement office, that's often something that can be just as easily configured within Salesforce as require a third-party app. So that's definitely an area that we're working with schools on, and it just really depends on what your specific needs are as to what the best solution fit's going to be.
Thanks, Watt. And we have 1 minute remaining and one final question, which is the icing on the cake kind of question. How much does it cost? So the pricing for Advancement Connect, oh good grief, the pricing for AlumniEngage is a range. And the broad pricing structure, we'd be happy to go over with you on a phone call, but I can say that it's influenced by the number of emails that you send, the number of members of your community, because there's a community pricing model, and the number of users of the CRM. And then there are other cost drivers that are one-time costs related to implementation, such as how many integration points do you have? How much data will we be migrating? What are you currently using for communication? Are you going to keep it? Will we move to some other solution? So those are the things that are drivers for costs, and we're happy to meet with you one-on-one and give you a little bit more detail about that and some ranges without having to go deep into a big scoping session to find out, so that you can budget appropriately for the future. And we are at the top of the hour. If there are no more questions, I'd like to let everyone go on time and say thank you so much to Kim Egan for joining us today, and thank you so much to all of you for joining us. And Watt, really great demo. Thank you so much. Take care.